Okay, we have one more concept to cover in 2.3, and that's when we're finding payment amounts slash deposits. So this actually brings us to a brand new function, and it's known as the payment function. So with the payment function, let's go ahead in here and go into Google Sheets. I'm going to put equals PM, and you'll see it prompt us with the payment function. And it looks like, okay, well, here I'm going to put rate per number of periods. Our number of periods are NPR, present value, and future value. And again, there's that end or beginning, or if you're using Excel type, we do not care about that in this class, so I'm going to just end it there. So we use this payment function for when we're looking for payment amounts or deposits. So this is a brand new function. So let's put it to use. Example 2 says you want to save $30,000 for the down payment on a house in 5 years and an annual rate of 5% interest. How much do you need to set aside per month? Okay, that's the key thing right there. That gives it away. How much do you need to set aside per month? Clearly, it's not the future value function, right? Because future value, I'm looking for what I need in the future, and we already have that. So this is going to be payment, our rate. We're doing this per month, so that's why it's divided by 12. 12 times a year, and we're doing it for 5 years. And here, it looks like we don't know our payment, right? And we don't have, let's go back to what we're looking for actually. We don't have a present value at all, right? We're looking to what we can save to get to a future value of $30,000. So let's go ahead and go to our Google Sheets. So it's 0.0, what is it again? 0.05 divided by 12. 12 times a year for 5 years. We're starting with nothing, but we want to end up with 30,000. Count those zeros. That is the biggest mistake I make. Close it and return. So it looks like in order to get to my 30,000, I'm going to have to make a monthly payment or deposit, of $441.14. So I will have to save $441.14 per month for 5 years. It's not an easy task, but it's good to know, right? Okay, so let's try B. You're looking to buy a new car after graduation, again in 5 years. The car you are wanting costs $22,000. Here's the key phrasing. How much will you need to deposit? So that is the key that tells me, okay, I need my payment function. For an account earning 1.5%, it says each month, so divided by 12, 12 times a year for 5 years. We're starting with nothing, but we want to end up with 22,000. Okay, so I'm going to go here. Equals payment. There it is. My rate divided by 12, comma, 12 times a year for 5 years. Start with nothing, but I want to end up with 22,000. Counting those zeros. And once again, don't add commas because it will confuse the system. And $353.32 is my monthly payment. So I will need to deposit $353.32 monthly. So let's just check. Okay, so it says how much total money will you put into your account? Well, if I want to check this work, I would do future value equals future value, the rate divided by 12, 12 times the 5. So let's set this up. So equals future value. I have my rate divide by 12, comma, 12 times a year for 5 years. Payment amount. Okay, this is what I want us to check. I can easily just put in $353.32, or to make sure this is really accurate, I'm going to go ahead and just select that cell because that is my payment. And then my future value is what I'm looking, or my present value is 0. So let's go 0 and enter. And look, we get a perfect $22,000. So that checks out. Now let me just show you. I'm going to write this down for your notes, so hopefully you do too. If I were to go ahead and do equals future value, my rate, 12 times a year for 5 years, and I'm just going to put in $353.32, and my present value 0, and see. So you'll see it's a little off. And that is because, I just want you to recognize, that's because this value that we wrote down, which we got from this cell, right, is rounded actually. So Google Sheets, because it knows it's dealing with money, is rounding to the nearest cent, but there are infinite amount of decimals after that 2 and that 32 cents. So it is best to use that cell reference. And what I mean by that is what we did up here, and how, see, it says B52. That's because I went up here and I selected that cell versus putting in just this value. So that cell puts in everything, and that's why we were able to get exactly $22,000. Okay, I will see you next time.